Okay, so Mr. Gheorghiu, here we play against Taimanov, and we'll see an opening where
the game will be a Benoni. Is a very complicated line from Benoni, and it's very important because Taimanov, he was one of the leading Soviet grandmasters. He was Soviet champion 3-4 times. He was a member of the Olympic team. They won many times the Olympiad. And he was candidate many times. And finally, he lost 6-0 against Bobby. That is well known afterwards, later on. But this was not very special because Bobby could beat anybody with 6-0. 6-0. So the move order will be very important. You'll see, and we'll see why. We'll explain why. Yeah. E4, D6, knight F3 castle, and now white played the main variation, bishop E2. Instead of bishop E2, the alternatives here are H3 or bishop D3. Both of them very good for white, very unclear what happens. But bishop E2 was considered the main line, in that time. Bishop E2, E6, okay, castle. And this is the idea. Rook E8 doesn't take immediately in D5. I mean, black doesn't, change immediately the pawn in D5 because afterwards black usually has some small problems because of the move order. White can come very quickly with the knight in C4, and he's better, in any position. Now, in such line, with the knight in D2 and the pawn still in C4, black has to move around, preparing the move order for later on, and trying to take later in D5, and had the possibility to provoke a little bit the main variation for, from this game, which is considered even now a little bit better for black. Therefore, the game is very important theoretically. So the idea is to put the knight from A6 to C7, preparing to play later on B6, A6, and B5. Later on, this is the idea for black, And in one moment to try to trade the pawn from D5. Okay, white is waiting. He moves away the king in H1. This is a good idea. Knight C7. Now A4. Okay, he doesn't give the possibility to B5 late immediately. So now you have to prepare B6, as I told you before. F3. Okay, he waits. Very good. Now rook B8. Everything is clear. Knight B3. Okay, after knight B3, now the knight doesn't come quickly to C4, you see? And now you can take in D5. That is the idea. Now you take in D5. If he takes with the pawn E, he doesn't have anything. He takes with the pawn C, normal. And now you have time to play A6. To come to C4, he has to move back to D2, but it's too late, because after knight D2, you have time to play B5, and you control the square C4. Yeah. And the black idea is clear. Black is okay in this position after A6. Okay, so he plays the most normal move, bishop G5. But now black can try to have the initiative on the king side also, H6, bishop H4, G5, bishop F2, if bishop G3, knight H5 also, very good for black. Bishop F2, now again, you have time to come to F4 later on, and the position is okay. Black has very good game everywhere, In the center, he has control. On the queen side, is no threat. On the king side, he's some initiative, with knight F4. Okay. So, rook E1, to have time to go back to F1, So knight F1, F4, bishop F1. And now what to do? Now F5, very good, move again. So knight C1, you have to go back to have some defensive position for white, So now you have time to play B5. Now there are some threats on the other side also, As I told you, on the queen side, on the king side, both of them. Is a little bit unpleasant already for white, See, he has to defend very well, very precise. Takes, queen C2, B4, knight D1. Okay, look at the position. Black has a very strong position, but it's nothing decisive yet. It's very unclear for the moment. But anyway, very good for black.
Yeah, and these two knights, they are very sad here on the
Yeah, very sad, but it's nothing
First
lost
knight.
for white. Not yet, not yet. Because now he threatens to play later on knight e3, knight c4. He wants to come to c4 anyway, you know.
the first idea.
Yeah. So now you force him. I mean, you take in e4. He has to take, and now knight b5. You have to come very quickly, trying. I mean, he doesn't have time to let you come to d4. If you come to d4, it's too much, you know. And now he takes in b5, but now you have the two bishops. You have two bishops, but as I told you, it's nothing. You know, nothing decided yet. You know?
Yeah.
So knight takes e3, queen f6, and okay, he comes to c4. Compared with some other position from before, when the knight was in d1,
Yeah.
this is much better with the knight in c4, you see?
Yes.
Now the position is very, very complicated. Black is clearly better, but you have to decide what to do. We are both of us in very big time trouble, Taimanov and myself. We have a few moves in a few minutes. I don't know, 2-3 minutes for the rest of our moves. And here I had two possibilities. I could take, for instance, in d5, or I could sacrifice in g2. If I take in d5, for the moment I have pawn up and very good position. He can't take in d5 because he's mate. You take in e1 and then queen f1 mate, you know.
So if
you take in d5.
If you take in d5?
Yeah. I mean, if you take in d5, he can take there, of course. But because you take in e1, he takes and queen f1 mate.
Yes.
Yeah. But of course, he doesn't take in d5. Yeah, this was the first threat. Okay, after knight d5, he has three possibilities. After knight takes there, he can play, for instance, knight b3, knight d3, or bishop g3, 3 moves. And it's unclear. It's not clear, you know. Maybe he has enough counterplay. So I couldn't resist, to tell the truth. I couldn't resist to such a possibility. Knight is in c4. And I took in g2. The position is very unclear.
Yeah.
But it's very dangerous for white. But white, if he goes wrong one moment, I mean one move, he's lost immediately. So I took in g2, he took in g2, and now I gave another check in h3, the second piece.
Yeah.
Now, if you take the second piece, you are mated. You know.
He took.
He took in h3 because it was very big time trouble. But anyway, the best possibility was to go back, for instance, in g1.
Yes.
And now after queen f3, knight e3.
Sorry.
No, queen f3, threatens mate, you know.
Yeah.
Now, it's not good to play bishop g3 because you are mated after bishop d4 mate, or almost mate. You know?
Yeah.
So you have to play the only move, knight e3. Rook takes e4, very strong initiative for black. And in very big time trouble is almost winning, probably, you know, for black. Very unclear, but very unpleasant for white. So instead of this, he was very surprised, of course, and probably he thought that I misplayed somehow, and he took the second piece.
Yeah.
And now queen f3 check. The idea is that if you give check immediately, g4 check is not mate. After king g4, h4, by miracle, is not mate. Yeah.
So if you move this one.
Yeah. But after bishop g3, bishop f6, now is mate, forced. Threatens mate in 1 in g4. And after knight e3, the only defense, h5, again mate in 1.
So he resigned here.
He resigned, yeah.
And now what move after this one?
Knight e3, h5, and the g4 mate, yeah.
Okay. The same idea.
Yeah. The game was beauty prize again, you know. I mean, fantastic game, of course.
Deserve it.
Yeah. And such a player, I mean, against Taimanov, yeah. Well, that is a game that, you know, in chess history, like this, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, very beautiful game, yeah.
Perfect.
Well, published all over the world and so on, yeah. And as I told you before, very important theoretically, you know, the move order and, you know, the whole plan is very nice and very interesting for black, you know.
So after this game, this variation was called...
Well, now this variation is called Florin Gheorghiu.
Florin Gheorghiu.
Yeah.
Nice. Beautiful.
Well, I have some other variations in chess theory also, you know, the game against Bobby in Nimzovich in Zemish variation against King's Indian, and so on. Sicilian that I show you against Ljubojevic, the Averbach variation. Afterwards, it was called after myself, and so on. But this was probably the most important one, Benoni, because was played against super grandmasters like this, and the game was, very nicely played and very important theoretically and so on.
Nice.
The game was really exceptional. Yeah.
Great. All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I hope you like it.
Well, I like it. Yes.
Okay.
Very beautiful.
Very
Very nice.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mr.
You're
Gheorghiu.
welcome.